Hey guys, and welcome back to Mods of the Month, where I'll be looking at the hottest mods of the month, some more famous, others quite underrated. However, we will be today looking at the most interesting mods I could find this month. So let's take a look and get into it. The first mod I want to take a look at today is called Lawless-Bandit Overhaul. If you've seen my previous video, I briefly reviewed a similar mod. However, this one is completely different by completely overhauling the bandit enemies within the game. These are inspired by previous TES titles and give bandits a bit more variety by giving them certain strengths and weaknesses. Bandits now don't only get a stat buff, they also get adequate equipment and perk buffs as well, making them more dangerous compared to vanilla. Furthermore, if you're interested in even more customization, the mod has provided a few add-ons which you can install and use according to your needs. As always, if you want to know more about the mod, then I would suggest you go to the Nexus page and read through the description to get a better understanding of said mod. Going forward is a mod that I covered recently, however I think it deserves a spot in this video as well. I'm of course talking about dynamic impact slash effects. This mod reworks the vanilla dataset, which is responsible for particle effects when hitting certain enemy types. This mod installed, you can now observe different particle effects for different enemy types, which are also dependent on your weapon of choice of course. This means you can get spark effect when hitting armored opponents, or see dust flying around when hitting Draugr. Currently this mod supports melee weapon types of all kinds, ranging from swords, axes to maces. Up next is a mod that reworks combat pathing within the game, and is called Combat Pathing Revolution, or CPR for short. You may be asking, what do you mean by combat pathing within the game? Well, in the vanilla game, when you're facing multiple enemies, they're all just kind of ganging up on you with not a lot of thought behind it. With this mod, the AI is reworked in such a way that enemies now take a more tactical approach to combat. CPR introduces a dynamic and highly customizable AI pathing framework for melee combat. It allows modern action moveset designers to apply specialized pathing AI for this moveset to make Skyrim NPCs moving in combat more close to those in modern action games. There are 4 types of AI moving behavior that CPR will allow for customization. The first ones are advancing. Advancing determines how an AI will perform when approaching a combat target. They can back off, which is decided on how short or far they are from a combat target, so they can either retreat or advance. They can circle you, which is decided on whether there are multiple enemies, so if there's multiple enemies they will circle you and try to get in more attacks so they can kill you faster. And they can also fall back when an AI, NPC kind of recognizes you're too strong and they can really beat you, so they will fall back and then attack you again. The next mod I want to take a look at is called Falmer Replacer, and this mod is relatively simple, but I think it changes a very underrated enemy type, and that are the Falmers within the game. The vanilla Falmers look pretty ugly. With this mod, they look way more detailed and lore friendly. Now with this mod, the Falmer's ferociousness is also more prevalent and it makes it more immersive in my opinion. Next up is a mod for all the light armor enjoyers out there. And I'm talking about the Raven HDT-SMP armor set by Fuse00. Not only does this armor set look incredible, it also fits in very well with the game world, and I think it would be perfectly suited for an assassin or thief type build. Furthermore, the outfit is upgradable, craftable as well, so you don't need to use console commands unless you're a lazy man like me. The armor set is also SMP friendly and simulates physics as the name suggests, which is a very immersive feature as well. Did you ever find that Skyrim lacked memorable boss fights? Well, so do I. Lately, there has been a surge of modders creating mods that do just that. One notable example would be Attaco. However, Anchor A has done a similar thing by adding Sephiroth from the Final Fantasy series within the game. The boss fight can be triggered by going to the west side of Dawnstar, where you can encounter him near the shores. Be warned though, as these bosses can be quite tough to deal with since they are meant to be endgame challenges. The boss fight is incredibly well done, and after you defeat Sephiroth, you can loot his stuff and use the animations that come with his sword as well. The next mod fixes probably one of the most infuriating bugs within the game, and that is the sprint and sheathing bug. In the vanilla game, while sprinting, if you sheath or unsheath your weapon, your character will start sprinting at the lowest speed. Not only is this infuriating as hell, it also looks incredibly goofy. Thankfully, this has been finally fixed by the modding gods. Funnily enough, the same bug is also apparent whilst your character is sneaking and sheathing or unsheathing a weapon. Thankfully now, it hopefully is fixed for good. The next mod is an addition to EVG's Conditional Idles mod, and expands the horizon by adding new animations that now play during combat. EVG's Conditional Idles Extended is a neat add-on by adding a bit more immersion and animation variety during combat. Furthermore, it can also help you determine if an enemy is low in stamina or health giving it an interesting gameplay mechanic as well. What's also quite funny is when an enemy is naked and trying to attack you whilst covering his private parts. The next mod on my list which I want to take a look at is called Skyrim On Skooma by Serpa. Quick disclaimer before I start this segment: the following video material contains flashy images or audio, so if you're sensitive to that or you suffer from epilepsy, I would advise you to skip this part. Are you tired of Skooma being so boring? Well, this mod turns Skooma into a proper recreational substance with 69 possible scenarios and 1,000 different variations. Funny yet still immersively immersive. So, what does this mod feature and what does it do basically? Each time you consume Skooma now, you might experience a wild trip. These trips last up to 60 seconds. Skooma trips are mostly happening in your mind, but can have real life consequences, so consume it carefully. During these trips, you will experience a wide variation of wild effects under the influence of the substance. You'll be tripping balls, basically. There's a total of 69 different trips, and they're chosen at random after you consume Skooma. Thousands of trip variations, which means that although the experience might be similar, you will very rarely experience the exact same trip. This is because each trip comes with a dozen plus very distinct visual and trance-like sounds that get randomized each time you take Skooma. Some of the trips are very unique and might make you see the world from a completely different perspective, and even open your mind to new thoughts or random occurrences. It's simple to understand the addiction and withdrawal mechanics, which are also implemented with this mod. So how does addiction work in the game? Each time you consume Skooma, you now have a 25% chance of becoming addicted to the substance. Skooma addiction can permanently be cured by waiting for the addiction effects to run out, which are 30 real-life minutes, or you can take more Skooma and so far then nullify said effects. Consuming Skooma gives you 10 minutes where the addiction does not affect you, and then it kicks in back again afterwards. Addiction takes 30 points of your health, stamina or magicka. This is however negated by consuming Skooma or waiting for the addiction effects to run out. Skooma effects, durations and so on are all explained natively via the effects UI screen, which is pretty neat. So you might be wondering, why take Skooma? If addiction is severe and lasts half an hour unless you consume more, why would you ever want to take Skooma? Well, my friend, Skooma is a recreational substance, and the point is that you have fun while under the influence. It's a pretty neat feature as well, and I personally agree. Skooma in Skyrim is pretty boring and, unimaginative. It only gives you what? A stamina buff? And that's it? No. This mod is very immersive and it does a lot of changes, and I think it's pretty neat. So, yeah. If you enjoy these kind of immersive mods, I guess, check it out and, take a look for yourself. However, if you suffer from, as mentioned before, epilepsy or are sensitive to, bright imagery or audio, then you might consider skipping this mod. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up for this video. I hope you could find some new and interesting mods for your next playthrough or your existing mod list. And with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also don't forget to check out the mods in the description. With that said, I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.